And sorry about that. If you saw the stream going on YouTube or X, you were probably seeing me commit a an error on. Hold on, let me do some self promotion. Oh gosh, here we go. We're going to delete that last post, and we are going to promote this one. Give me a second. This is like a two-man show at this time, and no fancy production. I am doing self-promotion as we are speaking. And yeah, this is episode 35, and it's been a kind of quiet 2 weeks since we've been gone. I know UFO Twitter has been, quite active, from day to day, but there's as far as the lot of the topics that we've been trying to cover, has been kind of stagnant. As far as the revelations in the legality of the UAP laws. Okay, so number one, the Schumer amendment was gone. The president did sign off on the 2024 National Defense and Authorization Act, which did have the UAP language in it. And the Schumer amendment, it was also being known, AKA the UAP Disclosure Act. We didn't get all that we wanted in there, but there was UAP language that was in there. The Biden had a presidential letter and concerns on the UAP language for the 2024 NDAA. I'm just giving you my own personal opinion, and I hate to say this. I don't think I don't think for a fact that the Biden wrote any of those things that were in there. I believe it was like an intern. The language in the lettering was kind of strange, even for Biden on even a presidential letter. The concerns were about some of the clauses that were in there, because there's a clause in the 2024 NDAA stating that there will be no more special access programs, which are these reverse engineering programs, the UFO, all of the stuff that we've been talking about over the years, all of these programs that Congress know about. They will not receive funding unless the Secretary of Defense is informed about the SAP program, which really doesn't include Congress, is what we need our lawmakers to be informed about what is going on. There was concern from whoever wrote in the presidential letter that this would jeopardize national security. But what we're really seeing on an overall picture is a lot of people don't realize is that what you are seeing is an admission through word logic and their actions that there is a real legal cover-up going on in front of your faces. Now, on the back end, or people that are closer, are we closer to the truth than the general public? I would say so. On the back end, it's not a joke. Like, this is considered real. The programs are probably way more in depth than anything that I know. They probably even know what they probably even have all of these craft cataloged and have their own names for each kind. But what I'm trying to get at is the general public. A lot of this stuff is not getting filtered down, and that's kind of where I kind of see all this going. I'm getting lost in thought. Essential letter. Well, basically,
we're getting more promises of disclosure rather than anything really concrete. You don't even get reports that seem as good as what was coming out 30, 40, 50 years ago. Um,
Yeah.
they don't, the MSM doesn't want to touch it.
No, they don't want to touch it, and this is
They would rather not touch it.
yeah, this is becoming like a real thing. And what I was hearing from the Good Trouble show, based on their Soul Foundation recap, I'm not sure if that was a re-recording, but I had listened to it today. I'm not sure because they were saying that they had been delayed, some of their Spotify stuffs, and I don't particularly am fond of even though we're streaming to YouTube, I'm not particularly fond of listening to podcasts on YouTube. But the people that are as close to this stuff than we will ever be, based on what I heard at the Soul Convention, and I know a lot of this is delayed because the Soul Convention happened almost like last month. It's real, and the people that are making policies and doing a lot of this nitpicking and the services in between the joint branch services and our government take this very seriously, more than you would want to know. And this is where I'm seeing this weird divide, is like the people that I heard from are saying that they need to have some sort of guide plan for what is coming, because right now they have what do they call it in politics, a dumpster fire, where after the 2017 videos from the Department of the Defense, they can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. And a lot of I know there are podcasts out there that are saying yes they can, blah blah blah. There's enough out there, and it's just spreading like wildfire, especially with a lot of people in Congress asking questions. Everything that happened this year due to the policy stuff. So the government knows they might have dodged a bullet. They might have dodged a bullet under this new policy that they had on the 2024 National Defense Authorization Act, and getting rid of the Schumer Amendment, which would have had all of these guiding plans, but on how disclosure is going to work. But I guarantee you're going to see this language come up again on the 2025 National Defense and Authorization Act during an election year, which is going to be completely crazy. God knows if that'll pass. But the policymakers and the people that are working on the front lines know that this is a dumpster fire. And if they don't have a policy on how to inform the public about what is going on, they're going to run in. They realize that the jig is up, and that they need to have some sort of generic, bland, at least facts that anybody can refer to, so they don't freak out. Because what I was hearing, all these fucking catastrophic situations that'll happen if they don't have a plan, and it's like having an Uber driver without GPS. Shit out of luck. Nobody knows what the fuck to do.
That sounds like general government think. They always like to break it down,
Yeah.
cellularize it. So many. Well, that's a military way of looking at it too.
That was basically where I was like, until I heard some of that conversation, like today, like I was just like, well, maybe they were right, and try and have this slow trickle thing, because like what happens if people start divesting from the stock market? They're like taking out all their money. Like we have military contractors that that are dependent on the stock market.
Yeah, I don't know that like the individual would really be so much a driver in that. You got the big funds, and then all the funds under management. But honestly, the little guy, from what I've seen, is maybe 10 or 15% of the market. A big market swing, and it's significant. But I mean, it's the banks and the big guys.
Oh yeah, yeah. That was kind of where they were going to. It's the guys.
banking. That's the thing. Well, okay, if you had people take their money out of the stock market and take a bunch of cash out of the bank, maybe. I mean, you didn't even see that with COVID, really. Uh, but let's say that they did. Just you ride through it, and it's your plan's either going to work or it's not. The government has some kind of plan because you have all this UN resolutions and all. Where like the president, if there is contact, essentially the president of the United States, the most powerful leader or whatever, is the guy that gets to like interact with the visitors, that sort of shit. I find it hard to believe that our government doesn't have anything written like that. If the UN is already kind of bragging about how that's going to take place.
Yeah.
So disclosure, this evidently this is their policy. This is the disclosure policy. That's what you're saying. It doesn't matter what they say. What you're getting is the disclosure policy.
Yeah, basically, that's pretty much all we'll get. Yeah.
Yeah, it's too bad.
And there were also a lot of different things going on, like there were some weird stuff that was being discussed on the back end, like we need to disclose like like whether we do or we do not have these craft that are flying around, therefore therefore are I know about a few incidences that had happened recently that a lot of people are not aware of, where, believe it or not, a recent shoot down had happened, and there's was a lot of discussion on the back end about whose craft that was, and let's just say that a foreign adversary thought it was ours, and that can create problems, especially with countries that have nuclear arsenals. And that was more along the lines where the military politics start coming into play, where we need to stop playing pussyfooting around, pardon my French, and actually start divulging what we do and do not have, so we avoid a nuclear war. Because there was a recent shoot down over a war zone sometime, what was that? Sometime this year, from a foreign adversary who does have a nuclear arsenal.
Yeah, I think there needs to be disclosure,
Abi benden
and I
varsa
mean,
olmakı
to
bilmeniz yaxşı.
Yeah, at least of some
Ay,
kind, you know.
olmakı
At least to our
birazcık bu.
at least to our
Bunu işte mi
Nagora.
bilmez hiç mi de kim bana?
Nagora.
Yes. Sorry.
At least to our adversaries, you know.
well, it needs to be a disclosure. For to have any kind of government that's legitimate, it needs to be disclosed to at least our supposed leaders, and so that they can know and run the government. That there has to be a chain there where
Yeah.
your elected leaders are in control. Because if they're not, and they can just have the intelligence agencies and defense contractors just stonewall and say, well, we don't want to do it, and that's okay. That's not okay because you can't have a rogue government.
Well, yeah,
That's what
that's
you're admitting to. Either your leaders are in control of the government, the president's in control of the country, or he's not.
well,
And
that's kind of what
so
we're dealing with.
there
Yeah.
has to be disclosure at least to them so that you can make intelligent decisions. Otherwise, you have a third party government running a rogue government running things.
Well, that's kind of what we got going on right
Right.
now with
Yeah.
the lobbyists and the
That's
Congress right now.
that's what it looks like. Yeah, because that's what it is. I mean, you're getting down to some fundamental questions, fundamental problems that need to be worked out. And if Schumer's got any sense at all, the scumbag that he is, he ought to at least understand that and want to, you know, get that much done.
Yeah.
Because if he doesn't, then he's in bed with the other guys.
Well, that's kind of what happened with Lockheed Martin and 2024 NDAA. With Lockheed Martin is dictating what policies we are doing for our defense and defense and that
Yeah, that's just not going to fly. I mean, that's just not how the government works. No, whether it's ours or any other government, there has to be a chain of command. You can't have rogue cells, a rogue entity in any government.
yeah
No matter who it is. It's just-
yeah.
So that's another big reason that it needs to disclosure needs to happen.
Well, yeah, and this is not one of those situations where like it was like in the 50s where they can just do another blue book and say it doesn't exist and everything is a fucking balloon. It's not. That's not how it works anymore. It's 2024. We know that we have high. We have like 4K fucking infrared cameras, dude, that can spot like spot whatever.
Exactly.
We're not down to this 420p videos like you're seeing in the background of this streaming video podcast. Or we have the capability of we have satellites up there that can read your license plate. Come on, you know.
Yeah. So where are the pictures? Yeah, it's just that's why I think we were getting better disclosure 50 years ago. You had more shows that had whatever videos and film they had at the time, and they were actually doing shows on it. And you just, other than a few here and there on TV, you just really don't see it.
He ran away.
Yeah.
He wants to come to you.
Yeah. Oy vey. Well, yeah. This is not just like another situation that's going to happen like 50 years ago. It's to the point where they can't go backwards. And here's some more stuff that I know that has been going on. Two things that are going on right now, actually. Arrow's Sean Kirkpatrick is out the door, going into some weird other. I think he's going to work with Patel Labs or something, or whatever the fuck he's good at, and I really don't care. Good riddance. He's gone. He's gone out of Arrow. The new person will be announced in January. Whoever's close the door. But then it's going to happen in January. What has happened is that we know for sure. I know this has been speculated, and a lot of people have talked to this in podcasts, that Sean Kirkpatrick was lying, and not only that, he was deceptive. And he never followed up on his duties. He on the from what I was hearing from the back end of whatever he was doing at Arrow, he was be quite frank, he was kind of incompetent to his duties, and it shows. It doesn't take you 2 years to make a website. It doesn't take you years to get through all of the stuff that you did, and didn't even get rid of the historical stuff. And basically, when he said when Sean Kirkpatrick said on the Politico or whatever he did recently, where he was in that press conference where he said that there was no evidence of NHI or UAP or extraterrestrial ET or whatever. Sean Kirkpatrick was basically the veterans, and I heard this from one vet, that he did for the historical stuff, where they were a lot of them were a lot of the ones he had interviewed were revolving around the nuclear test site missile guys that were getting visited all the time by these ETs, and they were dismantling the fucking the warheads on this shit. He basically was calling all of them a liar. That's what they
Yeah,
thought.
there was so yeah. I mean, but there was multiple incidents where bases were hit like that. I mean, there was I forget the name of it. There was one classic one,
Oh yeah, it happened in
but
Vandenberg.
I mean
Yeah,
that wasn't unheard of. So you're saying multiple guys at multiple bases were full of shit.
that's basically what they thought when he said that.
Yeah,
Yeah, the big Sean Kirkpatrick was calling them a liar, lying to the American government, lying to the American people.
yeah. It seems to be easier these days to like make up a lie and stick to it. Even when you know for your own beliefs, your career here. I guess is he's they're okay with that. Make up some bullshit story and just stick with it.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah. So
Yeah, there was.
yeah,
I
that's
was listening to the one. I've heard this story over and over again from one of the cameramans that used to do high speed photography and film for the Nike and Minuteman Titan missiles that they were using. And I've heard this story from this guy. Oh God. Way before the interview I heard this week, and I don't remember where I heard. I think I heard him, or one of his. It might have been. It was in Art Bell. Oh my God! This was in. This had to have been the '90s. It must have been one of his um, coworkers, because I heard the same story happening. Because yeah, there was two men. Maybe it was one of his maybe it was one of his superiors. I don't know. I heard the same fucking story where there was a bunch of 35 millimeter film. They asked him to go back and either because they were doing dummy, they were launching dummy warheads on the Titan missiles, on the Titan test missiles, and on the high speed photography, you couldn't see it while it was being launched, but they thought that they had fucked around with the film because they saw a little flying disc in a few frames shoot a beam of light and dismantle and shoot off the top of the warhead, completely off the Titan missile. And nobody it happened so fast nobody even saw it until they did the high speed photography, the high speed or whatever. And this wasn't the first time I've heard that story. I feel like the third
man.
time I've heard that
That's
story.
like on. I've seen that on like I don't know if it was history, but like those UFO disclosure series. I mean, that's not a common story, but that one's out there. I have seen that.
Maybe that's why I've heard it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you look at the physics that it would have taken to do what that object did. It's just at that precision, with that and those speeds, it's crazy.
Yeah, and we don't even our lasers, even our most powerful lasers, couldn't even do damage like that quick. We're
Yeah, we
talking
don't
we're
have anything like that. There's no way.
no.
And that's yeah, those guys. Well, they shook them down a little bit because, like you say, they thought they were messing with the films, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's legit. So yeah, where's the disclosure? It's like you could bring up all these old stories and talk about those.
Oh yeah, like
If they're
The
if
Holloman
they're
incidents. Yeah, the Holloman incident was the most crazy shit I ever heard. You ever heard about that one?
Holloman sounds familiar.
So
Where the UFOs landed
yeah, the UFOs
at the
landed on
base.
the
Yeah.
at the base, and shit you not, these guys look like fucking these guys look like fucking humanoid, and they were talking into a device that translated their language into whatever, but they had Egyptian Egyptian symbols on their uniforms, and they straight
Uh-huh.
up looked like fucking pharaohs and had cat-like eyes.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So that one might be where we get the Stargate kind of shit from, but it kind of makes you think. It kind of makes you think like maybe the whole fucking Stargate thing might have been real. Like maybe the ancient Egyptian gods were really ETs.
Yeah. Now you see the Stargate idea shows up in South America too. Um,
Oh yeah, in
on some
Bolivia
of
and
those
Peru.
old
Yeah,
sites. You know, that's so
yeah,
that idea is not solitary there. There's a few instances of that.
yeah. Yeah. There's in Bolivia and in Chile and Peru, there are gateways that are carved into these mountains shaped like human, like a human shape, but they would walk into. It's a very distinct shape. It's not exactly human. It's humanish kind of shape, but they believe that those were like portals and they could go anywhere. Just walk into this portal and they could go anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, and there's so many shows on this. I mean, I think there was even a show named Stargate. I
Oh
mean,
yeah, was
so
it?
all these ideas, and theoretical physics that you do see, the legitimate stuff that you saw through like Star Trek and Stargate and all this. It's like what I see in that is like there's different different aliens and different tech out there. It's not all coming from like the same folks.
Yeah,
Just like you don't see the same, the grays and the whites, or all the descriptions of the different kind of aliens. Uh, Many species. So at the same time, you're not getting disclosure. If you look at the scene, even the way it is, you see these themes and kind of narratives and ideas that are already out there that lead you to, pretty much probably where you're going. This was their way of leading you in.
yep.
But we still need to be patted on the head by the defense, MIC, and apparently, and hey, even your, don't feel bad, right? Because even your senators are getting patted on the head too. So
Oh yeah.
the guys who are supposed to know and are supposed to be in charge.
And they're not even allowed to see what the hell they're paying for.
Yeah. So I mean, if I was that guy, I'd have to be sitting there like, well, hey, wait a minute, I'm supposed to be like let's see, I'm the head guy, like on the intelligence committee, or and I can't get jack shit done. Something's wrong with this picture.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute, I can't really touch their money and do anything. That's prohibited. It's yeah, you've been eliminated from the chain there. You're not part of, what do they call it? The executive service, senior executive service.
Something like that. Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, Congress is basically they're the checkbooks for the United States. They're not even allowed to see what the hell they're paying for. It's like the most ridiculous thing. How do they not have the authority to see?
Yeah, it's like how did you clowns let that happen? And the CIA for that matter is like, oh, wait a minute, it's like it's one thing to have a secret agency, but you can't even you guys don't get to know what's going on and how much our budget is, or, and they let that go.
Oh yeah, oh
It's
yeah.
it's it's amazing. I mean, it's like they don't have any, they don't stand up for anything, even their own power and authority.
Oh shoot, we gotta end this show soon. He has to take a
Okay.
bath, doesn't he? Okay, yeah, we gotta end this show. We won't be back next week. I gotta William be in town, so we will be back on the 11th. So the 11th we'll be back. I promise you to our viewers that I will have a lot more here as far as juicy stuff. It's just I guess everything kind of flopped when the what I thought was going to happen didn't happen as far as legal paperwork and the NDAA. But so I'm going to be looking at other avenues for stories. And with that, we'll be back in 2 weeks.